All right, Rich Hollenberg reporting live from North Attleboro, Massachusetts. Rich, we appreciate your hard work. Well, we're joined in studio now by Robin Sachs, legal analyst and former prosecutor of the state of California. Robin, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Now, when you look at this investigation, given the high-profile nature of this case, of this investigation, do you think that police are really holding back?
I don't know that they're necessarily holding back. I think they're being methodical. I think that in any case, any good defense attorney anywhere is going to say it's a rush to judgment, although it's not looking so good for Hernandez.
If you were advising Hernandez, what do you think you'd be telling him at this point?
I would do exactly what his lawyers are doing right now. Shut up. Don't say anything. There's a little thing, that Fifth Amendment thing, which is great that they are using it, because the fact of the matter is that you've got all these pieces of evidence right now. I mean, the dots are lining up, and more dots are being connected to them. Actually, there's a news report just this morning that not only was the car related to Hernandez and connected him to the potential murder, but there's also witnesses now saying that there were 4 guys that went into a bar and 3 guys left. So and Hernandez was one of those 4. Presumably, you know, Lloyd Odin could have been the other 4th that never made its way out. That connection, plus the fact that you have this civil lawsuit, you have all of these pieces of evidence. The last that the prosecutor needs, with a nice little red bow, is Hernandez himself saying anything, even a lie, would help close this case in a hot minute. So the best thing to do is keep your mouth shut.
You're talking about the methodical process of the investigation, and I've covered some big cases like this, but this is kind of par for the course. Police are saying he's not a person of interest, nor is Aaron Hernandez a suspect. Could you explain the difference in this approach, if there necessarily is a difference, and with some of these dots being connected, why haven't the police, it's been about 48, 70 hours or so since this has happened, why haven't they named him a suspect? Why haven't they come out and said, we're looking at Aaron Hernandez?
Because this is a little law school 101. The minute that you call someone a suspect, they automatically have the Fifth Amendment rights attached to them. So that means that they are someone who, if once you put them in custody, they become the person of interest, you throw those labels on them, and all sorts of constitutional rights start kicking into place. So if you're the cops, just call him a person of interest or call him nothing at all. The fact of the matter is there's no one else that they're looking at. I'm here to tell you, Mr. Hernandez, you are a suspect. I mean, you don't need the police to say that. You are a suspect, and he's acting, his lawyers are treating him as such, and rightfully so.
Also, you mentioned the civil case. And, you know, for those folks who haven't heard about it, there was a man in Florida who says that him and Hernandez were together, and a gun accident went off, and Hernandez shot the guy in the face. Can any of this come into play? If this turns into a criminal case, or even in the process of this investigation, can the police in North Attleboro, the state police, whomever, get that type of information, the police reports or whatever, and add that to their investigation if they're trying to stack the chips against Hernandez or anybody related to him?
In a word, yes. Yes. I mean, this is the worst thing, I mean, that is coming for him. I mean, besides the fact that he's connected to the car, besides the evidence, besides that the body was found a mile from his house, take all the evidence from the actual case and throw with it that you have a gun case with a victim, filed a civil case, and you have someone who wouldn't talk to the police at the time of the incident, who was not cooperative. Not only is Hernandez in trouble potentially for this murder investigation, but the statute of limitations hasn't run on the other case from Florida as well, and you could find out that they can charge him. And by the way, under the law, you can use prior acts to prove a case. So you can make that argument. He's a gun-toting, violent dude here. Therefore, you can infer that he's a gun-toting, violent dude there.
How should he be acting right now? We see his body language a little bit from the snippets of video that we see, but this was a business associate of his. Should he be mourning the loss? Should he be just ignoring the media like he is? I mean, should he be showing more remorse, maybe, concern?
Well, especially, it's not even just a business associate. He is also related through a girlfriend relationship. You know, it's a friends of his girlfriends. I mean, it gets all incestual in terms of the relationship. So I would think that a little bit of remorse is a great thing, except for the fact that how do you really show remorse without implicating yourself? So if I were him, I'm just thinking, don't show up at all. Hide out, find a nice little cozy hotel room and lock down there.
Legally, I mean, you know now, Aaron Hernandez, we know him because he's a football player. How should the organization, how should the football franchise try to start to gird itself for worst case scenario, best case scenario, those types of things? Because this is a huge impact on the brand of the New England Patriots if one of their players was implicated in a criminal investigation that's tied to a homicide.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, I think that the best thing that they could do is divorce themselves from the situation completely. I don't think making comments of we can't wait for there to be a resolution. I heard someone on the air saying that this morning. You know, don't say you can't wait for there to be a resolution, because it may not be the resolution you want to have. Don't implicate or think that, you know, don't presume he's guilty. Don't presume that he's innocent. I would say, you know, just separate that and let that be something that and his lawyers and his publicists and his team of people have to deal with, and let the organization stay focused on their game and be all about their game. I mean, literally keep your eye on the ball and separate it would be my advice.
Real quick before we let you go, so your advice to him would actually be to go to a hotel. You think bring his entire family?
You know, go away.
Leave the house.
I think that you should be away from it. I think that you can have your lawyers work with the police at this point. You definitely don't want to be the person to say anything, because from a prosecutor and cop perspective, anything you say, whether it's a lie, whether it's a truth, whether it puts you at the scene, whether it creates a relationship, is going to be problematic. And the best thing you can do for client control is keep them away and quiet.
All right, Robin Sachs, thank you for all that information and for joining us here on NFL AM this morning. We have a lot more to come as NFL AM rolls on.